Well, hello everyone, and welcome to week 3, unit 3, depending on how you're taking the course, of the Paraeducator Training course. Let's begin. All right, in this section of the unit, we want to talk about typical duties of paraeducators. A mainstay of the course is going to be talking about things that you can and can't be expected to do. This is a lot of things that you can be expected to do. Typically, we consult and provide assistance on education-related assistive technology. We help staff with preparation of teaching materials. We don't design those materials, but we do help with their preparation. We assist in the monitoring and the proper functioning of equipment that is designated to assist or accommodate students. There's a lot of that. We also help with the instruction and supervision of students in school, as well as in community settings like field trips, things like that. And we assist with record keeping, with safety, and with maintenance of supplies and equipment. A lot of that, as we're going to see, having a sort of tidy classroom with good transitions helps to keep the distractions down. And there'll be other related duties as assigned, but your duties are not infinite. They are limited. There are many things that you cannot be asked to do, and we'll talk about those. All right, we perform various tasks in the supervision and care of infants and toddlers in the Child Development Center. Many of you have probably heard of CDCs. Maybe your kids even go to one. We also assist with the routine personal care and needs of infants and toddlers. If you're working in that context, you can expect some things that you won't expect in other contexts. So we're talking, of course, about CDC or the Adolescent Parent Program. So not every district has an Adolescent Parent Program. Many of them do. Anyhow, we also organize and supervise children into age-appropriate individual and group instruction. Okay, more about the CDC, Adolescent Parent Program. We'll do routine clerical work as required. A lot of these duties are reproduced throughout all of the other different kinds of paraeducator positions. We maintain cleanliness and sanitation in the nursery operation. From hand sanitizer to literal sanitization of floors and stuff like that. We organize materials or play space for instruction. And this type of paraeducator also prepares teaching materials for infants and toddlers according to their age and their developmental ability. This para types and reproduces a wide variety of written and graphic materials for use by the instructor and students. So it's okay for a teacher to ask us, hey, go make a bunch of copies of this and bring it back. That's kind of a mainstay of our duties. We also help individuals or small groups of individuals with assignments under the supervision of the instructor. So we'll probably be asked to carry out a lot of duties, but we don't need to initiate a lot of them. We also maintain daily logs. We help keep records and documentation according to the requirements of the CalSafe grant and the Infant Toddler Environmental Rating Scale. Now, we remember that this course is teaching us how to be a paraeducator in California. In other states, this may vary. Your mileage may vary. Okay, in the Adolescent Parent Program, or the CDC, this paraeducator provides appropriate reinforcement for the systematic management of student behavior, provides infant child care and supervision as required, assists students with routine personal care and needs. This may include, toileting, diapering, stuff like that. And so I was just getting to that. And assist with the diapering and toileting needs of infants and toddlers. Okay, so, in an elementary, junior high, high school context, you usually won't be performing that last duty. All right, let's move on. The ESL paraeducator is someone who helps folks who are designated ELL, English language learners, in our school districts, and may provide at the direction of the teacher English as a second language instruction to the bilingual student or instruction in other academic areas as needed at various school sites. This para performs a variety of record-keeping functions like student performance in English as a second language and keeps the teacher apprised of students' academic performance. ESL para also assists with the administering of bilingual performance language dominance test and the end of year program evaluation. So in California, this is a fact of life, the bilingual performance language dominance test. Districts and agencies want to know which language or languages our children are the most dominant in. It's important because it has to do with their status. Will they be regarded as an English language learner in future years, or will they not? We also, as a DSL paraeducator, we also may, on occasion, assist a student with personal health care or help students with routine studies, stuff like that. We're not going to say no if they ask for help with homework and there's time for it. And this para might also help parents to comply with school requirements. So, you know, there's a lot surrounding language. Language is my sort of pet project. It's something that I feel strongly about. You're going to see that throughout this course. And there's a lot of ideology surrounding the, let's say, integration of speakers of languages other than English into the English language classroom. There's a lot of good points and a lot of bad points, and a lot in between. All right. Mental health paraeducator implements positive behavior supports. This is kind of true of all of our positions. Collects and reports on data to teachers and to specialists. This is mostly having to do with day-to-day monitoring of, or monitoring and recording of student performance from qualitative and qualitative points of view. Talk a lot about that in later units. The mental health para also participates in classroom discipline and behavior management programs, as well as assisting the teacher with crisis intervention and physical restraints as needed. If you become this type of paraeducator, you're going to hear me say this 50 times, all right? If you are hired for this type of position, you will be trained on how to do all these things. You won't be expected to walk on the job knowing how to do this. The mental health paraeducator also supports special education and general education classroom objectives. This para supervises students during mainstreaming, that's the integration I was talking about, and inclusion activities, including lunch and social activities as required. So a para might be, you know, accompanying an ELL to lunch, to assemblies, to football games, something like that, if they're during school hours. Right. Mental health paraeducator also supervises students during assigned disciplinary actions, for example, in-house suspension or social isolation. Okay, let's talk about the opportunity classroom. A para in this classroom assists individuals or small groups independently with assignments under the supervision of the teacher. If you remember that opportunity classroom is a form of remediation. This para also assists teachers with the preparation and reinforcement of the presentation of learning materials and the performance of other instructional and social behavioral activities. This para monitors and assists students in drill, study, and research activities after lessons and instructions have been provided by the teacher or as designated by the teacher. Okay, this para also prepares special teaching demonstrations using a variety of aids and techniques to reinforce a skill or a learning, an instance of learning that's going on. They also help in maintaining a neat, orderly, and safe learning environment. That's true of all of our positions. This para monitors student behavior during class with the ability to support the teacher and students resiliently in a high stress situation. Again, there will be training. This type of para also assists in the supervision of students at lunch, recess, and during non-instructional times with the flexibility and consistency that is maintained during classroom time. They also help in monitoring a variety of tests. This para corrects tests and worksheets as long as they are objective. And this para supervises student activities as directed by the teacher. In this job, we also organize work areas and assemble learning materials, study aids, art supplies, or assignment folders. We also help in keeping study areas orderly. Again, it doesn't matter what assignment you are on, keeping everything nice and orderly will aid in smoothing transitions of any kind, from one learning activity to another, from recess to back in the classroom, from classroom to lunchtime, all that kind of thing. It's helped by orderliness. Okay, this para also prepares special teaching demonstrations and assists students in the classroom in academic, social, and behavioral areas. So this can be one-on-one by themselves or in small groups. All right, let's talk about preschool. The preschool paraeducator organizes materials for laboratory, physical education, arts and crafts, or other similar classes. Excuse me. This paraeducator also assists students with routine personal care and needs, and operates and cares for equipment used in the classroom for instructional purposes. A little spelling error there. I have to correct that next time. Okay, so there are a lot of things that we use for instructive purposes, pieces of technology, projectors, laptops, tablets, whatever you might have, and much simpler things as well that might need help, or you might need to find the right person to help us with them. This paraeducator also prepares special demonstration or visual materials, helps individuals or small groups, and helps teachers in record-keeping activities. Okay. You might be saying, gosh, it's probably pretty hard to keep records in a preschool classroom with all the kids bouncing off the walls. Well, that's what nap time is for. Write down all your thoughts then. Sometimes this paraeducator transports children and makes home visits with the teacher, these kinds of things. Talking about going to a doctor or going on a field trip where we never actually transport the children to a field trip, but we can help on the bus and things like that. Also, this paraeducator, the preschool para, helps with housekeeping duties, keeping the classroom clean, food service. It helps in preparing an annual report. So at this grade level, we're still sort of feeding the kids sometimes in class. Young kids are very food motivated. Mine are. And apart from that, we help with the annual report. So every person who works at a school actually contributes to that school's data collection. So our role is an important one because somehow what we record ends up in the school's annual reports and can affect funding for the future. Okay, this paraeducator also helps students to master equipment or instructional materials that have been assigned by the teacher. Sometimes we buy supplies using an open purchase order, and we also participate in other in-service activities as directed. So we're going to hear the term in-service a lot in this course as well. So put a pin in that one. We'll be hearing it again. All right, we're going to start talking about related services and being a paraeducator in this context. This paraeducator is an itinerant position, meaning it can go from place to place. It's established for the purposes of working with individuals or groups of students who receive related services through their IEP. Okay, there are a whole bunch of duties. Please read this in your time. I want to talk about what related services are. This is coming from the Center for Parent Information and Resources website, which you can look up on the web. Related services help children with disabilities to benefit from their special education by providing extra help and support in needed areas, such as speaking or moving. Related services can include, but are not limited to, any of the following: speech language pathology and audiology services, interpreting services, psychological services, and a whole host of other things. Okay. So instructional signing assistant for the deaf and hard of hearing, what we also refer to as hourly exceptional. Okay. This is for a person who speaks ASL, American Sign Language, which is a language. This para assists individuals or small groups of students in classroom settings in mainstreaming activities. Our goal is to have students who have IEPs or who receive special services. Our goal is to have them integrated as much as possible into a classroom. So this is just one instance of that. We also help on field trips, of course. And this para provides physical assistance, including but not limited to lifting, feeding, self-care, and attending to them in a general way. Under the direction of the teacher, we should be able to lead small groups or do individual instruction with students with this exceptionality. We also go to staff meetings, parent meetings, other in-service things as needed. Ding, ding, there's in-service. We also help with record keeping. You have to know how to make copies, do filing, typing, stuff like that. It's ubiquitous in all of our jobs these days. Also help with OT, occupational therapy, and adaptive physical education when needed. And there may be other duties as assigned. Okay, thinking about all of the things that we've heard about already, ask yourself, what 5 duties and responsibilities am I already qualified to do? You know, sometimes we surprise ourselves with what we are capable of. We find that we can do more than we knew we could do. So with that in mind, let's start talking about how to search for jobs. Now, folks, this is maybe the most important thing I can teach you, aside from all the stuff I'll tell you about legality. Searching for a job, you need to go create an account on edjoin.org right now, if you don't already have one. This is the way we get our jobs. This is the way we apply for our jobs. Even if you have a friend who says she'll get you a job, you still need to apply on edjoin. So save yourself some headache later. Go create an edjoin account, and you can begin uploading your materials there so that every time you do an application, it's going to be easy for you because all of your stuff will already be ready to go. Honestly, it's going to be easy already because it's your market right now. Schools really need paraeducators in districts near me and in districts near you. So it's a good time to be trying to get into this field. Here is edjoin.org. When you go there, you're going to see a login register. Go ahead and go down to register to get the process started. All right, complete the registration with your information, not mine. First name, last name, all that. You've done this on other websites before, I'm sure. After you've set up an account, start looking at jobs, see what's out there. Even searching for jobs is easier once you have an account. So after that, you can go ahead and click on job search, see what we can see. You can go to advanced search if you would like to search in just your area or just a specific area near you. We definitely want to only look for the position that we intend to apply for. So you can scroll down. Right now on edjoin, they don't have a paraeducator designation. So what you do is scroll down to teacher assistant, aide, paraprofessional. And that's one that you would select to look for paraeducator jobs. we're in California. I'm teaching you how to be a paraeducator in California. You want to scroll down and click on California. You can get more specific than that. Click on your region, your school, whatever you want. So for instance, near me, it would be Sacramento. And hit search. When you do your search at certain times of the year, you're going to get many, many job results. Before each semester and before the summer term, there's a lot of jobs available. But if you start looking in January, there's not going to be any jobs because everybody got hired in November, right? So the best times of the year are probably July and about November. And if you think that you might want to work as a paraeducator during the summer, you've got to have been a paraeducator already in a district. So in general, what people do is they only hire people that they have hired before in terms of summer school work. So you want to start thinking about that after you've been working as a paraeducator for a bit. Okay, so on EdJoin, you can click on a job that you're interested in. Think about which job fits your skill set. Obviously, if you are bilingual, you are good for jobs that other people are not. If you speak ASL, sign language, you're good for jobs that other people are not. If you have experience, many of my students have experience working with students with exceptionalities, special needs kids. If you have experience in that area, you have a leg up on other applicants to the job. So we think about what our skill set is when we're doing a job search. Okay, I mentioned orally exceptional earlier today. So that means folks who are, if you haven't heard this term before, it's referring to folks who are deaf and hard of hearing. Okay. Each one of these jobs has job details on EdJoin. You can look at those. There's always more information. And you can look at the job description. This will take you off of the EdJoin website and go to the agency's website. So you can go to a specific agency's website that you're interested in. Let's say LAUSD, right? You can go to their website and look for jobs there. However, they're going to forward you to EdJoin. So it's easier and faster just to go straight to EdJoin. You can view job details. This is a real job detail sheet from 2021. Okay, look at that later on if you want to. Look at the requirements for applying. There are usually about 2, 3, or 4 requirements for applying. Later on, you're going to find out there are more requirements like proof of tuberculosis shot, proof of COVID-19 vaccination, stuff like that. But just to get an interview for this job, you need a resume and 2 letters of recommendation. Hey, you can do that. You also need a couple of different things in terms of education. For this job, you have to be fluent in what they call visual English or American Sign Language, but you won't for most jobs. Okay, what can set you apart, distinguish you as a paraeducator candidate? These characteristics generally include 6 things. You need to be able to problem solve and work with a variety of different constituents. Everybody at a school is a stakeholder. Everybody at a school is a constituent, okay? You need to be able to operate standard office equipment, chairs, table, from chairs and tables, furniture to software, hardware, stuff like that. We all have to be internet literate these days to do just about any job. And this one very much so. Our kids are always more literate than we are. So we've got to try to catch up. We have to have knowledge of concepts of grammar and punctuation. You don't need to be Shakespeare. And you don't need to be, the author of a style book on English writing. You just need to have the basic concepts, of grammar and punctuation in English. You also need to be able to learn about equipment and devices. We're going to come across new devices in schools we've never seen before. And in turn, to turn around and train others on their use and applications. Also have to have knowledges of stages of child development. We'll learn about some of those in this course, and also about learning styles. This is really important. Everybody learns in their own way. There are kind of 4 to 6 major categories that these fall into, and we'll talk about those. It's helpful if you have experience scheduling activities, collecting data, using job-related equipment, stuff like that, okay? So you don't have to have all of these things, but you do have to have a few of them if you want to stand out from the other candidates. So which 4 of the above do you meet? Think about it. There are so many jobs, including being a parent, that can qualify you. So here's another example application. San Juan Unified School District has a pretty good setup for paraeducators. You might look into that if you live in the Sacramento area. Folsom Cordova Unified also has a good setup. And they each have their strengths and their drawbacks. So when we complete the application, we have to do a couple of finishing moves, like talking about which languages we are fluent in, ethnicity, race, stuff like that. And we usually digitally sign these and send them on. Sometimes people ask us to print them out, but that's getting very, very rare. Sometimes on EdJoin, you will see, actually, whenever you search for a job, you'll see online application, ? And that is about whether or not the agency or the company accepts an online application, or if they have a paper application. You're going to see fewer and fewer times that the answer is they only have a paper application. There are often supplemental questions too, usually legality stuff. Have you been convicted of a felony? Have you ever been fired, etc. Okay, and I wanted to show you a salary scale. This is from, I think, San Bernardino County. But anyhow, this is a salary scale for paraeducators. Don't get excited yet, because these numbers are pretty nice, but this is based on an 40-hour work week, and paraeducator jobs are almost never 40 hours. So anyhow, this is with 1 year of service to, step 1, step 2, step 3. Whenever you look at jobs on EdJoin, or a lot of the time, I should say, for classified jobs like this one, you'll see a 1 or a 2, like teacher assistant 1, 2, 2 restricted, those kinds of things. The pay is always higher the larger the numbers grow. Okay. And in districts around here, no matter what you come in as, your salary increases every year for 5 years. And then once every 5 years after that, it increases again. Okay. In the Sacramento area, the schedule for paraeducators ranges from 3 hours per day to 6.5 hours per day. There are no 8 hours a day paraeducator positions. All of the hours are during the school day, except the few times when you may be asked to do trainings that fall outside of the school day. Pretty rare. But before you actually begin your job as a paraeducator, you will do some pre-service training. What you're doing right now is pre-service training, but there'll also be other trainings before you are in a classroom contact situation. And assignments are typically for 9.5 months. That's just a school year, folks, you know. And you can, like we said before, you can seek out summer employment if you want to as well. All right, we've done it again. Come to the end of a unit. I hope that you all have a really good weekend, or whatever day of the week it is in your part of the world. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in Unit 2, Week 2. All right.